My name is Barbara Deere. I've lived in this community ever since I had been married in the 1940s. Um, I taught school for 20, 27 years, something like that, and have lived on a farm, so it's been rather a full life. Some time ago, I became interested in caning chairs, and it's kind of like the power to save something that is going to be taken away, and it's good. And then I caught up with the people here at the park, and it's a nice bunch of people. They are friendly, they are happy, they are doing things that they like to do, and it's a great hobby, I suppose. But coming to the fair on Fair Week is the one big thing that most of us will do. Let's see. I even forget what I have said, so bear with me. I taught school for 27 years. I was what can I say, a slow learner. I was a late comer, and after I met my husband at Purdue and married him and came up here and had 3 children, then I decided it was time to go back and finish school, which is really important, was important for me. And I finally graduated. I got a job teaching at New Prairie, worked through my master's degree, and spent 27 years with them. Let's see, what do I need to? I grew up in Plymouth, Indiana. My father was the principal of Washington Elementary School, and it was kind of fun to have your father as a principal. I was late for school the first day because he sat me in his anteroom and then forgot about me. And so I walked into the first grade a little bit late. Also, there was this little girl waiting for the bell to ring among other students, and she would run up to my father and grab him by the leg and hug him and say, "This is my daddy." And I knew she didn't have anything to do with my daddy. My childhood was happy. I was decently good in school. I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do when I grew up, which a lot of young kids don't seem to catch on to in a hurry. But I wanted to be a teacher like my father. I grew up in a family with an older sister and a younger brother. It was a quiet family. We didn't have any problems with the police that some families do. It was just an ordinary family. We grew up on Liberty Street, right across from the high school in Plymouth, and I think we all had a pretty good upbringing. My brother, who was younger than I was, went to Notre Dame. That was my father's idea, and he graduated from there. After I left Purdue and about half my credits, we came up here and we raised 3 children, a girl and 2 boys, and then I decided to go back to school and finish my degree. When I did, I went to the county, I can't even remember what they're called, but it was like the person who hired and fired all the teachers. Made an appointment, wrote out a very short, this is who I am, went in and sat down, dressed in the best thing I had, which was a white slinky dress, which was all wrong, but he asked me to sit down, and he says, "Barbara, we've been waiting for you." That was as hard as I ever had to work for a job. Went to school. I had done some work to take the place of ordinary teachers when they were sick or had to go do something else, and that was fun. And I worked quite a bit at the Rolling Prairie School, and it was fun. One day the principal asked me if I could work for 3 weeks because his teacher was going to go on a vacation. I don't think that happens too much anymore, but I enjoyed it. I knew that was where I wanted to go. I graduated from IU South Bend, and after I got established in teaching, I went back to night school. No, there wasn't a night school, at St. Mary's College, and got my master's degree from St. Mary's. So my brother went to Notre Dame. I went to St. Mary's. My other sister grew up during the war, and she married a soldier. She was kind of at home until her soldier husband came back.
Morning. I forgot what.
What have I left out? What have I left out?
Tell me about your activities in caning chairs. People bring you chairs. You do so many a week. And where do you do most of your work at? Go ahead.
Okay, I got started caning chairs when my husband's father became ill with cancer, and Dick would come home from work on Friday and drive down to below Indianapolis, and he would stay and help out with his father for the weekend, and then drive back home, and I kind of kept the farm going while he was gone. His father, and when Dick would come home, every time he came, he would bring one of the family's straight back chairs. So when his father died, we pulled out those chairs, and Dick took the seats out and knocked all of the parts apart, stripped them, refinished them, glued them back up together, and then we had these dozen straight back chairs with no seats. We had to do something about that. Finally picked up a book, read the book, had some disagreements about what the instructions were all about. And of course I knew best for about 5 minutes. We got those chairs finished up, and they stayed in our household for a number of years. When my grandson married, my grandson Atlee married Tiff, his girlfriend, slight, skinny little girl, sweet as could be. They moved down to the family farm and came up to get the chairs. It was the perfect ending for those chairs. They moved into the family home down in Trafalgar, Indiana, and they still have the chair. But before they got the chairs, they came and got my extra dining room table, which was fine. It relieved a lot of space. So the chairs are still around, and they're something that is like family furniture. I'm having a very difficult time getting my family, women especially, to say, when you die, Barbara, could I have such and such a piece of furniture? So I think what I'm going to have to do is to I don't even know where I started with that. What I'm going to have to do is to write their names on the furniture and say, this one is yours. But I don't like that, because then everybody won't get exactly what they would like to have. We'll work it out. I may come back from dying for a couple of days and straighten everybody out.
Or they could just find a note laying somewhere and
Oh, yes.
saying, this is where I wanted it to go if you'd had made your decision.
But I've got to do that before we have the household sale, you understand?
Yes.
So I might have to, if I ever get sick enough to go to the hospital, I might just have to check out and come back home.
Now, how many chairs do you do a month?
Oh, Lord, it just depends. A lot of these appeared after I had gotten here. I brought this chair to Kane, and that's about it. The others walked in the first day. And I'll take them home. It'll take me a couple of carloads to get everything home. Take them home, order the materials, and sit in my kitchen and cane chairs. It's something I enjoy doing. You can cane chairs and watch TV, or you can cane chairs and snack. The TV is probably healthier for me, but they're fun to do. How many do I do? I really don't. I really don't know. I had cards made up, and when I come to fairs like this, if somebody seems interested, I just hand them the card and say, the card doesn't tell you how to get to my house, but give me a call and we'll work things out. And that's the way the stuff comes. I don't advertise. I just come to 3 or 4 fairs during the summertime, and also word of mouth happens. If a parent sees me someplace here, and then will say, well, my son or my daughter or that family has some things that they need to talk to you about, and they send them on to me. I don't advertise, because I've been doing more at home than I would like to. I take care of my own home now, kind of, and have a couple of lawnmowers and mow my own yard, which really needs work this week. But it's something that's interesting, and it fills the gap, and it works very well. I don't have to go any place for entertainment. It's all right here in my kitchen. Only not here in my kitchen, there in my kitchen. And that's just about all I do with the chairs. People will call me up and, do you do chairs, Mrs. Deere? Well, yes, I do. Will you do a chair for me? And it isn't as though it's, will you do a chair for me? it's like, I have a chair that I would like for you to do for me. They come over, drop off their chair. I put a tag on it, which nobody has done here today. So I'll just have to take them home, do them, put them in the end of my living room, and wait. The phone call comes. Right now I have 6 done chairs in my living room. And I'm beginning to wonder because they've been there quite some time. If somebody calls and says that they are identifying one of those chairs, I will just kind of ask them if they would like for me to burn them or what. They come.
You've got about 8 chairs here now and only one of them that you brought. About how many hours does it take to do one chair?
I can do an ordinary chair. This chair over here has a lot less holes, and so there's less work to do with it than this chair, because this one has more holes. How long does it take me on the average? If I'm doing it straight through, I can do it in a day and a half or thereabouts. It just depends on how much. If I have to run to town, get groceries and do all that kind of thing, it takes me longer. Sometimes they sit there for a while, but that's all right too. Right now, I have 6 chairs that are just chairs like these, sitting in my living room, all done. They have been there for a while. They're almost like permanent fixtures. Every once in a while, I call up the owner and tell them that, I would really like for you to come and get your chairs. In my back room, I have some really interesting chairs. Some of them are, I have 2 that are rather tall chairs. And they have caning in their back and their seats. That will take longer, and that will take, they still have their old caning on, and that will take longer for me to figure out how to follow that pattern. But I can do it. But in the meantime, they're dry and cozy. Then I have 2 large chairs that a man brought to me, and he looked at me, brought the chairs in, said, "Fix them," and left. So those I'm not working on right now. I'm trying to figure them out. They're interesting chairs because they have their armrests are double arms, and when you need to have extensions on them, at the end of it, the top board will come around and extend the arm twice the length that it usually is. But they're waiting for me to. What he wants me to do is they're coming loose at the sides, and I think what he wants me to do, I hope, is to just mend them, wet down the places really well, and then do a swath about there and there, and incorporate them into the caning that's already there. If he wants me to cane the whole thing, and I will call him before. With the 2 chairs, it's almost a $400 job, and hopefully he will take the offer to mend them. However, they won't last as long, the mending won't last as long as if I would cut out the old and start fresh. but then it would be a 2-year job, I think, and I don't think he wants to do that. But we'll see. I'll call him. Let me see. What do I have? I have a big yard to mow, and there was a period of time when I hired a lot of work done for myself. I hired a couple of ladies along to clean my house, and they did a fine job, but I'm my father's child, and I just really hate spending money on things that I can do. And then I would pay some ladies to mow my yard, and that was kind of a disaster because they would drive on high speed and miss large plots, and on every run that they made across the yard, there would be grass about that wide, either down the middle of it or on the sides of it. And so I wasn't too happy with that. So this summer I bought 2 lawnmowers, count them, and I mow my own yard. And I enjoy doing it. It's a nice way to get outside. But my yard is a 2-day yard, so I have my work cut out for me. But then the new lawnmowers are nice too.
Right now, we are in Pioneer Land at the LaPorte County Fairgrounds on July 16th, 2015. How many years have you been with Pioneer Land here at the fair?
I know exactly. Pioneer Land had this thing that they did. They had on Sunday, the beginning of the week, they had a cookhouse, and they also had a huge cauldron hung over a fire, and they had a bean supper. With their bean supper, they also gave, and this was for the general public also, with their bean supper, they offered a little porcelain, used to call them tin cups, and they would be served their beans in the tin cup, and then they can take their cup home with them. The help around here also got to have their bean supper, and I've saved all my cups, and right now I have 14. So I know that I've been here for at least 14 years, and it's an interesting thing to do. These people are so skillful in the things that they do. I just admire them immensely. They're wonderful people, and they know how to do things that the general public don't know how to do. They are interesting to talk to. They are interesting to find out how their projects are working, and I have never heard of any of the people who do projects ever not having come back. They all come back. I've been here, as I said, 14 years, and probably before that, before they got the idea of giving out cups. But it's a fun thing to do. I enjoy it. I go home, I'm so tired I can't even stand up, but it's all been worth it. I enjoy it. I like it.
Thank you, Barbara dear. You've done a wonderful job with this interview. Thank you.